Get your daily news fix. From newsworthy's latest edition. April 14, 2020. Get your daily news fix. From newsworthy's latest edition. April 14, 2025, featuring crypto, politics, tech, and more. Top songs on YouTube music charts, global edition from April 4 to April 10, 2025. Die with a Smile by Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars. APT by Rose and Bruno Mars. El Mayor de los Ranas by Victor Valverde and J.R. Torres. AAJ Key Rap by Madhu Banti Bagchi, Divya Kumar, and Sachin. Spotify Weekly Top Songs Global, spanning from Friday, April 4 to Thursday, April 10, 2025. Die with a Smile by Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars, Birds of a Feather by Billie Eilish, Ordinary by Alex Warren, and APT by Rose and Bruno Mars. Top-selling digital games on Nintendo US as of April 14, 2025. Minecraft, Hades, Super Mario Party Jamboree, and Stardew Valley. Discover the most popular games on Steam. Based on the revenue rankings from the top 100 products, covering the period from Tuesday, April 1, 2025, to Tuesday, April 8, 2025. The featured games are Counter-Strike 2, Schedule 1, REPO, and NZOI. CISA's cybersecurity alerts and advisories. Fortinet has issued an advisory concerning a newly discovered post-exploitation method targeting previously known vulnerabilities. Ivanti has announced security updates to address vulnerabilities in its Connect Secure, Policy Secure, and ZTA gateways, specifically CV 2025-22457. One more drop in the ocean of AI. Munshotai introduces Kimi VLA3B Thinking, a streamlined open-source mixture of experts, Vision Language Model, VLM. This model excels in advanced multimodal reasoning, long context comprehension, and robust agent capabilities. Remarkably, it achieves this with only 2.8 billion parameters in its language decoder. Kimi VLA3B Thinking stands toe-to-toe with state-of-the-art efficient VLMs like GPT-4o Mini, Qwen 2.5 VL7B, and Gemma 3-12B IT, and even outperforms GPT-4 in certain specialized areas. South Korea is investigating a claim that a Chinese teenager caught filming F-16s is the son of a security official. The Wall Street Journal reports that, during a secret meeting, China admitted to its involvement in hacking U.S. infrastructure. A whistleblower from Meta informed senators that Facebook collaborated closely with the Chinese government to censor posts. ASEAN has decided not to retaliate against Trump's tariffs, opting instead to pursue frank dialogue. Meanwhile, the EU has temporarily halted its tariff retaliation for 90 days, aligning with Trump's actions, in the hopes of initiating talks. The total U.S. tariffs on Chinese imports have reached 145%, according to a White House official. In response, China has increased tariffs on U.S. goods and advised its citizens to exercise caution when traveling. Trump's leading trade official was not informed about the tariff delay until after the announcement was made. Trump has paused reciprocal tariffs for 90 days, with the exception of those impacting China. China plans to limit U.S. film releases following Trump's tariff increase. Bank of America suggests that the cost of Apple's iPhone could increase by 90% if production is relocated to the United States. In response to potential Trump tariffs, Apple has reportedly transported 600 tons of iPhones from India. Trump has criticized Apple's manufacturing in China as unsustainable and has hinted at possibly exempting some companies from tariffs. Trump has reversed his decision to prevent the export of Nvidia's H20 chips to China following a meeting with the CEO at Mar-a-Lago. The European Commission president has warned that if Trump's tariff negotiations fail, major U.S. tech companies like Meta and Google might face financial consequences, emphasizing that there are no winners in this, only losers. In the United States, DOJ has uncovered thousands of fraudulent unemployment claims, leading to a doubling of pandemic unemployment fraud estimates to a range of $100 to $135 billion. Senators Crapo and Smith are urging immediate action in response. Trump has reportedly assigned DOJ to conduct a review of the Navy, with Palantir reportedly assisting DOJ in a significant IRS data project. Furthermore, the Pentagon plans to terminate $5.1 billion in contracts with companies such as Accenture and Deloitte. Facing demands for proof against Mahmoud Khalil, Rubio contends that Khalil's mere presence weakens U.S. foreign policy and informs the judge that the U.S. government has the authority to deport Khalil due to his beliefs. The state instructs its employees to monitor each other for any signs of anti-Christian bias. Additionally, the Trump administration seeks to place Colombia under federal supervision to guarantee adherence to anti-Semitism policies. Ireland is investigating Elon Musk's Platform X for allegedly using the data of European users to train its AI model named Grok. Facebook is reportedly shifting its Llama 4 AI model towards a more conservative stance, aiming to offer a balanced perspective by presenting both sides of issues. YouTube has introduced a complementary AI tool designed to assist creators in making music. Democrats are pushing for an investigation into potential insider trading related to Trump's social media comments about the stock market prior to a reversal on tariffs, which led to a significant market rise. Marjorie Taylor Greene is under scrutiny for alleged insider trading due to her stock purchases. Trump has stated, "I know what I'm doing regarding tariffs, but many Americans are skeptical." He boasted in the Oval Office about his wealthy friends profiting greatly in the stock market after he lifted tariffs. Furthermore, Trump provided a buy recommendation on social media just hours before the tariff pause, which caused stocks to surge. In the United States, a group of senators from both major political parties has proposed a new bill aimed at granting former President Donald Trump additional authority to prevent Chinese investments. In the United Kingdom, the government is set to enact urgent legislation to assume control over British Steel. It has been revealed that the CEO of Intel has made investments in numerous Chinese companies, some of which have connections to the military sector. Governments have discovered numerous Android applications that come pre-installed with spyware. DoorDash has initiated robot delivery services in both Los Angeles and Chicago. The emergence of slop squatting, exploring how AI-generated hallucinations are contributing to a new category of supply chain threats. Trump is urging Congress to permanently implement daylight saving time. Trump's Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, is considering halting the collection of greenhouse gas emissions data from the majority of polluters. Furthermore, U.S. intelligence agencies are examining the possibility of FBI involvement in the 2021 Capitol riot. There are increasing reports of civilians impersonating ICE agents to detain migrants. ICE has announced plans to prevent ideas from entering the country illegally, and the ICE chief has proposed a model similar to Amazon Prime for executing Trump's mass deportation plans. The Trump administration has rendered the Social Security numbers of immigrants invalid, encouraging them to self-deport. Meanwhile, the Republican-controlled House has approved a bill to restrict nationwide orders from federal district judges, alongside a Trump-supported bill aimed at curbing rogue judges. Trump has also proposed utilizing law firms that have committed to providing pro bono services to assist the U.S. in tariff negotiations, with these firms agreeing to offer nearly $1 billion in free legal work to Trump. Researchers have created a detailed map of the approximately 500 million neural connections that enable mice to perceive visual information. In a separate development, astronomers have observed a supermassive black hole beginning to become active. The discovery of large underground formations beneath the Giza pyramids has fueled speculation about the existence of an ancient energy grid. In the United States, the House of Representatives has approved a plan to move forward with making Trump's tax cuts permanent and increasing the debt limit. This decision is part of a $5.8 trillion budget resolution. Trump has issued an order to investigate former CISA head Chris Krebs and two first-term administration officials who have been critical of him. Fox News and Dominion Voting Systems have settled a significant defamation lawsuit. Apple India has manufactured iPhones valued at $22 billion, marking a significant shift in production away from China. Apple and Nvidia have received relief from U.S. tariffs through exemptions, as President Trump has excluded smartphones from reciprocal tariffs. However, U.S. Commerce Secretary has indicated that the exempted electronic products will be subject to different tariffs. Bloomberg discusses the uncertain future of Wi-Fi giant TP-Link in the U.S., which is contingent on its alleged separation from China. In another development, China's new semiconductor regulations have spared Taiwanese foundries while imposing penalties on Intel, Global Foundries, and Texas Instruments. Furthermore, President Trump has stated that he informed TSMC that it would face a 100% tax if it does not establish a manufacturing presence in the U.S. Analysis of soil from the moon's far side indicates that it is drier compared to the side that faces Earth. A NASA spacecraft has detected a massive black hole emitting an intense burst of X-rays, releasing energy that is 100 times greater than what has been observed in other locations. A high school student has employed artificial intelligence to uncover 1.5 million objects in space that were previously unknown. In 2024, clean energy sources were responsible for generating 40% of the world's electricity, according to a recent report. The International Energy Agency, IEA, has projected that the demand for power in global data centers will increase by a factor of 2 by the year 2030, driven by the rapid growth of artificial intelligence. A report from the UK revealed that last year, the number of gas boiler fittings was 15 times greater than the number of heat pumps installed. Furthermore, a modeling study has identified that industrial carbon producers play a substantial role in contributing to the rise in sea levels. The Bank of England has expressed concerns that the use of AI models in financial systems might lead to shared vulnerabilities, potentially causing misestimations of certain risks. These models could take correlated positions, which might amplify financial shocks. There is a reliance on a limited number of providers, and malicious actors may have the capability to successfully execute cyberattacks against the financial system. In a separate development, the U.S. Army has stated that it could potentially acquire targets more quickly by utilizing advanced AI. Meanwhile, Musk's company, xAI, has introduced Grok 3, providing access to compete with rival AI models like GPT-4 and Gemini. The reboot sound from Microsoft Windows 95 and the soundtrack of Minecraft have been added to the National Recording Registry. Andy Warhol's artwork titled Electric Chair is set to be auctioned at Christie's with an estimated value of $30 million. The original version of Star Wars will be shown this summer in the City of London. WordPress.com has introduced a complimentary website builder that utilizes artificial intelligence. Razer has officially launched its PC Remote Play feature. It has been reported that OpenAI has assisted spammers in spreading messages across 80,000 websites, successfully evading filter systems. Prince Harry from the UK discreetly traveled to Ukraine to meet with individuals affected by the war. The United States is reportedly insisting that Ukraine take control of a crucial pipeline that transports Russian gas. According to the BBC, a Russian S-400 or R-37 missile has reportedly shot down a US-made F-16 aircraft in Ukraine. In the ongoing chip conflict, Samsung has refuted claims of stopping foundry services for Chinese customers despite pressure from the United States. According to the South China Morning Post, Chinese exporters are reportedly abandoning shipments in the middle of their journey to evade the heavy tariffs imposed by President Trump. Reuters indicates that Chinese vendors on Amazon are either increasing their prices or leaving the U.S. market as tariffs continue to rise. In response to the trade war, China's major retail companies have committed to assisting exporters in shifting their focus to the domestic market, while the U.S. has increased charges on small parcels, specifically targeting Chinese retailers. Kennedy has established a deadline of September to pinpoint the reason behind the increasing autism rates in the United States. A study indicates that diabetes experienced during pregnancy is associated with elevated rates of ADHD and autism in children. France plans to prohibit students from possessing smartphones within school premises. The European Union might impose taxes on major technology companies if the trade negotiations with Donald Trump do not succeed, according to Ursula von der Leyen. A new artificial intelligence fund in China is set to invest a substantial amount of $8 billion into projects that are still in their early stages. Some insiders at Meta's AI research lab have expressed concerns that it is experiencing a gradual decline, although Meta itself prefers to describe this situation as a new beginning. Research indicates that microtransactions accounted for 58% of the total revenue generated by PC games in the year 2024. In the aftermath of the Crew lawsuit, Ubisoft has asserted that players do not possess ownership of their games. Illegal casinos and sportsbooks have been found to generate the majority of online gaming revenue in the United States. According to Reuters, Apple's supplier Luxshare is considering setting up manufacturing operations in the United States as a strategy to address tariff issues. Nintendo has decided to delay the release of its Switch 2 console in the Chinese market. Google is proposing adjustments to its automotive services and maps contracts in an effort to satisfy regulatory authorities in Germany. Netflix is experimenting with a new AI-driven search engine designed to suggest shows and movies to its users. James Cameron has expressed that blockbuster films can only remain viable if their production costs are reduced by half. He is currently investigating how AI technology can assist in this process without resulting in staff layoffs. There is ongoing skepticism among audiences regarding the use of generative AI in news reporting. Furthermore, Salvador Dali's artwork titled Giraffes on Horseback Salad is set to be recreated using artificial intelligence. The ongoing conflict between the Internet Archive and music labels, which involves a copyright dispute valued at over $600 million, is moving closer to a resolution. YouTube is rolling out its advanced likeness detection technology to a select group of leading creators. This move aligns with YouTube's backing of the No Fakes Act, which aims to combat the creation of unauthorized AI replicas. Meta whistleblower Sarah Wynne Williams has revealed that the company has been directing advertisements at teenagers based on their emotional states. In March 2025, ChatGPT achieved the status of the most downloaded application worldwide. According to Reuters, Alphabet and Nvidia have reportedly invested in SSI, a company founded by OpenAI co-founder Suits Kever, as indicated by a source. It is being reported that the advancement of AI models capable of reasoning is leading to an increase in the cost of benchmarking. China has issued a travel advisory for the United States as President Trump escalates tariff retaliation measures. European travelers are canceling their trips to the U.S. due to concerns over Trump's policies impacting tourism. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, recommends an extra measles vaccine shot for certain travelers heading to Texas and other regions experiencing outbreaks. Furthermore, airport face scans might soon replace boarding passes and check-in procedures by the year 2028. The European Union is investing in gigafactories to compete with the United States and China in the artificial intelligence sector, while Germany plans to establish a super high-tech ministry focused on research, technology, and aerospace. Greenpeace reports that emissions from AI chipmaking have increased fourfold in 2024. Furthermore, law professors are supporting authors in their legal battle against Meta regarding AI copyright issues. Nate's so-called AI was actually a group of individuals working in a room. The startup founder is facing charges for deceiving investors with false claims and successfully raising $50 million. OpenAI has filed a countersuit against Elon Musk, accusing him of harassment and orchestrating a fraudulent takeover attempt. Recently released images show that Elon Musk's XAI data center has almost doubled the number of its gas turbines, which are both polluting and operating without proper permits. In times of market instability, affluent individuals are increasingly accumulating cash, gold, and establishing family trusts. Elon Musk has significantly reduced the savings target for Doge from an ambitious $2 trillion to a more modest $150 billion for the current year. Google has made the decision to terminate the employment of numerous individuals within its platform and devices division. China has increased tariffs on imports from the United States to a staggering 125%, labeling President Trump's policies as a joke. This move has caused U.S. markets to experience a decline, as tariffs on Chinese imports have now reached 145%. In response, Tesla has decided to stop importing its Model S and Model X vehicles into China, as the high tariffs have made them unaffordable and uncompetitive. General Motors has announced plans to cease production of its electric van in Ontario. The leader of the U.S. Space Force base in Greenland has been dismissed following a visit by J.D. Vance. It is reported that the Space Force commander in Greenland sent an email that distanced himself from Vance after the visit. A Space Force colonel was removed from his position after publicly disagreeing with J.D. Vance's remarks about acquiring Greenland. In other news, India plans to construct an underground nuclear submarine base to counter China, while Bangladesh has offered an air base to Beijing near the strategically important Chicken Neck area. The leading candidate in the Romanian election has promised to prevent any potential withdrawal of U.S. troops. Bloomberg has recently highlighted that affluent Indonesians are expressing concerns about President Prabowo's policies, prompting them to transfer their wealth abroad. It was reported yesterday that Indonesian President Prabowo has requested Turkey to support Jakarta in assuming responsibility for establishing a new global order. Furthermore, Bloomberg indicates that the United States is considering providing financial assistance to farmers amid potential retaliatory measures from China. Lastly, Bloomberg notes that Japan does not intend to utilize U.S. treasuries as leverage in ongoing tariff discussions. Research indicates that women possess superior hearing abilities compared to men. Mindfulness plays a role in influencing the relationship between an individual's chronotype and the experience of depressive symptoms among young adults. A study has uncovered the presence of nearly 200 different pesticides within homes across Europe, describing this mixture as a toxic cocktail. OpenAI is set to transition from GPT-4 to GPT-4o starting April 30th, while preparing for the release of GPT 4.1. Samsung has integrated Google's Gemini technology into its home robot, Balai. Google plans to adopt Anthropic's framework for linking AI models with data. Trump warns of imposing sanctions and tariffs on Mexico due to a water conflict, and he gives the military permission to manage public land along the southern border. Trump proposes a plan allowing undocumented farm and hotel workers to legally work in the United States. The Guardian remarks that Donald Trump is significantly weakened, presenting an opportunity for Europe and the UK to gain an edge. Tony Gilroy, the creator of Andor, has revealed that Disney is developing a horror project set in the Star Wars universe. M3GAN is making a comeback to theaters, featuring Meta's innovative second screen technology that allows fans to engage with the movie during Blumhouse's Halfway to Halloween event. Ridley Scott's Maudeville graphic novel is launching at a challenging period for the comics industry. The Academy Awards are at last introducing a category specifically for stunt performers. Former French rugby player Chabal has lost the ability to recall any moment from his professional career as a result of a concussion. Filmmaker James Toback has been ordered to pay $1.7 billion in damages following a sex assault lawsuit involving 40 women. An earthquake has uncovered previously unknown monuments in Myanmar. In Luxor, a house of life brimming with educational artifacts has been found at the Ramesseum. A study has shown that Stonehenge is not the oldest monument of its type in England. The Trump administration plans to allocate funds intended for humanities grants to construct a sculpture park with a patriotic theme. In a related move, Trump has intensified his conflict over inadequate water pressure by issuing an executive order aimed at addressing what he describes as weak and worthless showerheads. RFK Jr. has asserted the existence of the deep state and criticized FDA employees as sock puppets of industry. Axios has commented on this, noting that Trump is redefining fraud in his efforts to dismantle the deep state. Politico has also weighed in, highlighting that RFK Jr. has pledged to transform American healthcare, and this transformation is progressing more rapidly than anticipated. Nations have reached a consensus on implementing a worldwide carbon tax for the shipping industry, a decision that has been met with opposition from former President Trump. This agreement was facilitated by the United Nations Shipping Agency, which has also negotiated a deal concerning fuel emissions and CO2 fees. According to a document, the United States has withdrawn from the carbon talks related to shipping and is encouraging other countries to do the same. The White House has unveiled a strategy to significantly reduce the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, which could stifle climate research efforts. The Food and Drug Administration, FDA, is planning to gradually eliminate the need for animal testing. Hong Kong police are contemplating the use of robot dogs to assist in law enforcement efforts. In the United States, it is reported that the FDA plans to hire contractors to fill the positions of employees who have been laid off. There are comments suggesting that Donald Trump might propose a pay freeze for federal employees in the year 2026. U.S. envoy Witkoff has a meeting with Putin while Trump urges Moscow to get moving on the Ukraine situation. Oman plays a central role in the initial Iran-US discussion regarding Tehran's nuclear program. The head of Greenpeace UK is arrested following a protest at the US Embassy in London against its support for Israel, and in the United States, the Department of Homeland Security is set to start screening the social media activity of immigrants for anti-Semitism. Tesla has introduced a new long-range version of the Cybertruck, which is available for purchase at a price of $69,990. Tesla has expanded its presence in Saudi Arabia by opening its first showroom and service center located in Riyadh. The European Union and China are considering the establishment of minimum price standards for electric vehicles, as announced by the EU. Furthermore, it has been reported that Musk's Doge has dismissed self-driving car safety experts from the agency responsible for regulating Tesla. A recent settlement between U.S. Soccer and Relevant has opened the door for European soccer matches to be held in the United States. 6 months prior, it was reported that La Liga was considering hosting a match between Barcelona and Atletico Madrid in the U.S. A British adaptation of Saturday Night Live with an all-British cast is set to premiere in 2026. In financial news, Revolut plans to expand its trading platform to include UK stocks. Mario Vargas Llosa, a Nobel Prize-winning novelist from Peru, has passed away at the age of 89. Professors from Harvard University have initiated legal action against the Trump administration to prevent the examination of approximately $9 billion in federal funding. The Trump administration has proposed a plan that would reduce legal assistance available to thousands of migrant children. Furthermore, Trump has announced the termination of temporary protective status for individuals from Afghanistan and Cameroon. A service agreement between the U.S. DOJ and the Department of Labor reveals a fee of $1.3 million and outlines the mission of the agreement. NOAM suggests that migrant detainees should remain imprisoned in El Salvador indefinitely. In the United States, the Supreme Court has instructed the government to attempt the return of a man who was mistakenly deported to an El Salvadoran prison. The Trump administration asserts that the man is still alive in the prison and argues that it has no obligation to bring him back to the U.S. A British man's tattoo was erroneously associated with a Venezuelan gang in a U.S. government document. UNICEF has reported that a child is being raped every half an hour in eastern DRC, as violence intensifies amidst a worsening funding crisis. According to reports, Chinese stock exchanges have implemented limitations on daily stock sales as the trade conflict with the United States intensifies, with sources indicating that China has also stopped essential exports as the trade war grows more severe. China has placed its officials on a wartime alert due to the tensions arising from President Trump's tariff actions, which are reminiscent of Cold War dynamics. Trump's advisor, Peter Navarro, has dismissed criticism from Elon Musk, stating, "I've been called worse," while President Trump has announced plans to reveal semiconductor tariffs within the coming week. Concerns are being raised about the potential impact of Trump's tariff strategies on prices and the financial sector, although a CBS News poll suggests that the Republican Party's base views these measures as beneficial for job creation in the long run. MCL1 plays a crucial role in protecting activated hair follicle stem cells, which is essential for the regeneration of adult hair. Research conducted by UOTTAWA reveals that engaging in cold plunges can lead to changes at the cellular level. A recent study has identified a specific brain circuit that is associated with the degree of intensity in political behavior. Senator Bernie Sanders unexpectedly showed up at the Coachella Festival. In Silicon Valley, crosswalk buttons have reportedly been tampered with to mimic the voices of Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg. There have been remarks suggesting that Jack Dorsey and Elon Musk are in favor of abolishing all intellectual property laws. Apple is preparing to launch 2 new headsets while also planning for the future development of glasses. YouTube is contemplating the introduction of a daily timer feature to assist users in reducing their consumption of shorts. OpenAI may soon mandate that users provide a verified ID to gain access to upcoming AI models through its API. The 33-year-old Amiga OS, originally designed for Commodore computers, has received an unexpected update. Waymo is preparing its autonomous vehicles for their inaugural international tests in Japan. A fossilized jawbone has been discovered, indicating that the enigmatic Denisovans once inhabited ancient Taiwan. Iran's methamphetamine cartels are using Malaysia's Port Klang as a route to target Australia. In Gabon, coup leader Oligui Nguema has been elected president, according to provisional results, with 90% of the votes in his favor. Analysts report that North Korea's newest ship is capable of transporting numerous missiles. The U.S. State Department is urging its employees to document any occurrences of perceived anti-Christian prejudice occurring during President Biden's administration. Bangladesh has reinstated the phrase "Accept Israel" on its passports. In Ecuador, President Daniel Noboa has been re-elected despite widespread public concern about rising crime levels across the country. Palantir is aiming to attract top high school graduates by offering a new internship program that encourages them to bypass college, promoting the idea of avoiding student debt and what they describe as indoctrination. Former employees from Apple, Google, and Cash App are leaving the big tech sector to focus on Bitcoin projects, supported by venture capital funding and a supportive White House environment. Hungary is on the verge of passing a constitutional amendment to prohibit LGBTQ+ gatherings. Trump's administration has granted exemptions to numerous coal plants, allowing them to bypass more stringent pollution regulations. Goldman Sachs suggests that ESG investors should consider including oil and gas stocks in their portfolios, similar to how defense stocks are often overlooked. The Trump team is using the concept of wolf de-extinction as a rationale to reduce the number of species on the endangered list. Furthermore, it has been reported that bacteria capable of consuming methane are poised to help capture emissions from landfills. Meta's basic Maverick AI model performs less favorably compared to competitors on a widely used chat evaluation metric. The creator of a game involving non-consensual sex has removed it from Steam following its prohibition in the UK, Canada, and Australia, stating, "We don't intend to fight the whole world." There are claims that Google is compensating certain AI employees to remain idle for a year instead of moving to competing companies. In the United States, if the federal government decides to implement work requirements, over 5 million individuals might lose their Medicaid coverage. There is a concern that the metal present in MRI contrast agents could potentially lead to significant health issues. Furthermore, a study has revealed that in 2022, more than 3 million children lost their lives as a result of drug resistance. New York has imposed a fine on Block due to deficiencies in Cash App's anti-money laundering measures. Trump has signed a resolution aimed at overturning the tax reporting rule for decentralized finance. The Wall Street Journal has reported that Binance is attempting to reduce U.S. regulatory oversight while engaging in negotiations with Trump's cryptocurrency company.
Get your daily news fix from NewsSource Crawler's latest edition. April 9, 2025, featuring crypto, politics, tech, and more. YouTube music charts, global top songs from March 28 to April 3, 2025, feature the following hits. Die with a Smile by Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars, APT, by Rose and Bruno Mars, El Mayor de los Ranas by Victor Valverde and Jair Torres, and Ranjan by Parampara Thakur. Spotify's weekly top songs global list. For the period from Friday, March 28 to Thursday, April 3, 2025, includes the following tracks. Die with a Smile by Lady Gaga, APT, by Rose featuring Bruno Mars, Birds of a Feather by Billie Eilish, and Ordinary by Alex Warren. Top-selling digital games on Nintendo US as of April 7, 2025. Minecraft, Super Mario Party Jamboree, Stardew Valley, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Steam's most popular games. A list of the leading games in terms of sales and player engagement on Steam. Based on the top 100 revenue-generating products, for the period from Tuesday, March 25, 2025, to Tuesday, April 1, 2025. Schedule 1. Counter-Strike 2, Inzio REPO. The First Berserker, Kazan. CISA's cybersecurity alerts and advisories. The NSA, CISA, FBI, and various international partners have issued a cybersecurity advisory concerning Fast Flux, which is identified as a national security threat. Fast Flux is a method employed to obscure the locations of harmful servers by swiftly altering the domain name system, DNS, records linked to a single domain name. This threat takes advantage of a common vulnerability in network defenses, complicating the process of tracking and blocking malicious fast flux activities. One more drop in the ocean of AI. Meta Llama's Llama 4 Scout 17B16e Instruct. The Llama 4 series consists of autoregressive language models that employ a mixture of experts, architectural design. These models also integrate early fusion techniques to support native multimodality. The United States and Iran are engaging in direct discussions regarding Iran's nuclear program, as announced by President Trump. Iran has stated that it will participate in indirect negotiations with the U.S. in Oman on Saturday. Hezbollah has expressed its willingness to consider disarming if Israel agrees to withdraw from southern Lebanon. Furthermore, Reuters has reported that Iran-backed militias in Iraq are prepared to disarm in an effort to avoid potential retaliation from President Trump. Volkswagen's Audi division is holding vehicles in U.S. ports because of the automotive tariffs, while the European Union has proposed to President Trump the elimination of all industrial tariffs. This situation has been described as the EU being concerned about a surge in Chinese imports as Trump intensifies the tariff conflict. Trump has dismissed the EU's proposal for a zero-for-zero tariff agreement, stating that the EU must purchase $350 billion worth of U.S. energy to receive any tariff relief. China's Premier Li has assured the EU's Ursula von der Leyen that China is equipped to handle Trump's actions, as Brussels considers imposing 25% tariffs in retaliation against Trump. The Palestinian Red Crescent has reported that autopsies indicate the medics killed in Gaza were shot with the deliberate intention to cause death. An Israeli airstrike occurred near a charity kitchen in Gaza while Palestinians were assembling to receive food. Furthermore, Israel has taken control of half of Gaza after destroying land to increase its buffer zone. Indonesia has expressed readiness to temporarily accommodate 1,000 refugees fleeing from Gaza. The design team at General Motors in the United Kingdom envisions a future where the iconic Corvette is powered by electricity. Kawasaki has introduced a groundbreaking hydrogen-powered, ride-on robot horse. Amazon's Zoox has started testing its robotaxi service in the bustling city of Los Angeles. The discovery of stone tools in China indicates that individuals in East Asia were engaging in innovative activities during the Middle Paleolithic period, similar to those in Europe and the Middle East. A startup focused on de-extinction, valued at $10 billion, has successfully revived the dire wolf. Furthermore, anthrax has resulted in the deaths of 50 hippos within Congo's Virunga National Park. Apple customers are rushing to stores to purchase iPhones before tariffs take effect. Reuters has reported that Micron plans to introduce a tariff-related surcharge on certain products starting April 9, according to sources. The Guardian has commented that Trump's tariffs, described as very beautiful on Fox News, are expected to address issues in America, masculinity, and the family. Madonna and Elton John have finally resolved their long-standing conflict, which began years ago when Elton criticized Madonna for lip-syncing. They emphasize that forgiveness is a powerful tool. Werner Herzog is set to receive the Golden Lion for career achievement at the Venice Film Festival. In Panama, lightning strikes have been found to enhance the growth of the almendro tree. In Germany, 15 schools in Duisburg have been shut down due to threats from far-right groups. The Guardian has commented on the situation where student journalists in the United States have stopped publishing, fearing a campaign by Trump against pro-Palestinian speech. In the United States, the Department of Justice has stated that some individuals charged in connection with the January 6 events should be reimbursed for the money they sent to Congress. It was reported 2 months ago that only a small portion of the restitution owed for the damage caused to the U.S. Capitol during the riot has been paid by the offenders. South Korea is anticipated to hold an unexpected presidential election on June 3, according to media reports. In a tragic incident, at least 66 people, including 2 former Major League Baseball players, lost their lives when the roof of a nightclub in the Dominican Republic collapsed. Kenya is optimistic that by transforming the large Kakuma refugee camp into a city, it will facilitate the integration of refugees into society. Donald Trump has issued a warning to China, threatening to impose an additional 50% tariff unless Beijing decides to remove its own tariffs. In response, China has declared its intention to fight to the end following Trump's threat of increased tariffs. Furthermore, Trump has raised tariffs to 90% on small parcels originating from mainland China and Hong Kong. China has called on Shein to pause its supply chain adjustments in light of the tariffs. The Disney Store has launched its May the 4th celebrations early, offering exclusive Star Wars merchandise weekly, while Amazon is expanding its Hall Bargain store to include name brands and provide faster shipping. It has been noted that countries such as Brazil, Egypt, and Singapore could potentially benefit from the current tariff situation. The Ukrainian intelligence agency, HUR, has reported the discovery of an Indian component in a Russian weapon for the first time. President Zelensky announced that Ukraine has captured 2 Chinese soldiers who were fighting on behalf of President Putin. Furthermore, Zelensky confirmed that Ukrainian troops are present in Russia's Belgorod region. Japan has expressed its desire to become part of a NATO command to provide support to Ukraine. Ripple has made a significant move by acquiring Hidden Road, a prime broker known for its favorable stance towards cryptocurrencies, for a substantial amount of $1.25 billion. Tether is contemplating the introduction of a stablecoin that would be exclusively available in the United States, following the relaxation of cryptocurrency regulations by former President Trump. Ant Group's technology division has decided to establish its global headquarters in Hong Kong, as part of its strategic focus on advancing artificial intelligence and Web3 technologies. The Art Basel and UBS Global Art Market Report for 2025, prepared by Arts Economics, predicts a 12% decrease in total art sales, bringing the figure down to $57.5 billion. Rolex has introduced the Oyster Perpetual Land Dweller, accompanied by 32 patent applications and patents. Robert De Niro is set to be honored with the honorary Palme d'Or at the Cannes Film Festival in 2025 and will also conduct a masterclass. Nintendo has announced that game key cards are not linked to any specific accounts, allowing them to be freely loaned or sold to others. Hershey's chocolate is set to receive a movie that explores its origins. In a rural town in Japan, trading cards featuring middle-aged men have gained significant popularity and gone viral. Taiwan does not have any intentions of implementing retaliatory tariffs, but it does plan to increase its purchases from the United States and also intends to expand its investments in the country. Bangladesh is urging President Trump to postpone the imposition of tariffs, highlighting its efforts to enhance imports from the United States. Reuters has reported that Thailand is considering increasing its imports from the United States and reducing taxes as a response to the tariffs. However, Bloomberg has reported that an official from Thailand has stated that the country will not rush to lower taxes on imports from the United States. Beijing has instructed American companies to hold Washington accountable for the ongoing tariff tensions while emphasizing the promising opportunities available in China. It is also reported that Elon Musk personally reached out to President Trump, urging him to overturn the extensive new tariffs. Musk has publicly criticized Trump's leading trade advisor, Peter Navarro, referring to him as a moron and dumber than a sack of bricks. Furthermore, it is said that Apple organized 5 flights carrying iPhones from India and China within a span of 3 days in an effort to circumvent the tariffs imposed by Trump. A recent poll indicates that approximately 25% of companies in Hong Kong might adopt the government's wage freeze policy. This follows the announcement 2 months ago that Hong Kong plans to reduce its civil service workforce by 10,000 positions and implement a pay freeze due to budgetary deficits. In the United Kingdom, the Post Office has decided to sell off all of its branches that it directly owns. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, has come to an agreement with Argentina, providing a $20 billion bailout to the financially struggling nation. IBM has introduced a new mainframe system designed to manage the substantial workloads associated with AI models. Andreessen Horowitz is aiming to secure a massive $20 billion fund, driven by the growing interest in AI startups within the United States. TSMC is reportedly at risk of incurring a $1 billion penalty due to a chip discovered in a Huawei AI processor, according to various sources. A study conducted over Google CTRs has revealed that the increasing prominence of AI-generated overviews in search results is leading to a decrease in click-through rates. This shift has left website creators feeling as though they have been betrayed, as reported by Bloomberg. Google has introduced an AI mode in its search capabilities that is now able to provide answers to questions related to images. The CEO of Shopify has stated that employees must demonstrate that their roles cannot be performed by AI before requesting additional staffing. JP Morgan's CEO, Jamie Dimon, has expressed concerns that the tariffs imposed by Trump will lead to increased inflation and further decelerate the U.S. economy, which is already experiencing a slowdown. Goldman Sachs has increased the likelihood of a recession in the United States to 45%, marking the second such increase within a single week. Bill Ackman has urged for a 90-day pause on tariffs, warning that without this action, there is a risk of an economically self-induced nuclear winter. Instagram is enhancing its search capabilities to rival TikTok. In 2024, Spotify is set to pay African artists a total of $59 million, with Nigerian and South African musicians leading the global music trend. Meta has announced that teenagers under the age of 16 will require parental consent to live stream on Instagram. In the United States, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, agents have the primary responsibility of determining whether detainees are affiliated with gangs and should be deported, according to the Border Czar. Migrants who used the Biden-era CBP One app to enter the U.S. have had their legal status revoked and are instructed to leave the country immediately. Germany has halted its participation in the United Nations Refugee Resettlement Program as a new coalition government is expected to adopt a less hospitable stance towards refugees. Furthermore, the European Union's border agency is conducting an investigation into Greece regarding potential human rights violations. A Panama official has leveled accusations of misconduct against a Hong Kong port operator, while the U.S. defense chief has stated that the country will reclaim control of the Panama Canal from what he describes as China's influence. In a separate development, Spain is advocating for the European Union to shift its focus towards China as a means to counteract the tariffs imposed by Trump. The LA Times has remarked that Trump's tariffs are further damaging Hollywood's prospects in China. In the United States, the Department of Justice has decided to disband its team dedicated to enforcing cryptocurrency regulations, choosing instead to concentrate its efforts on combating terrorism and fraud. Reuters has disclosed that Elon Musk's cryptocurrency, Doge, is allegedly utilizing artificial intelligence to monitor the activities of U.S. federal employees, according to unnamed sources. There are reports indicating that hackers have plans to target Elon Musk for an entire month. Hackers have been present in the systems of the Treasury Office of the Comptroller of the Currency since a breach occurred in June 2023, according to the U.S. financial regulator, who reported that an email hack revealed sensitive information about banks. The UK has been unsuccessful in its attempt to maintain the secrecy of Apple's appeal against a request for an iPhone backdoor. Furthermore, tech CEOs in the U.S. have noted that a large number of fake job seekers are overwhelming companies that are currently hiring for remote positions. In the United States, a former Justice Department pardon attorney has made allegations of ongoing corruption and misuse of authority within the agency. President Trump and Paramount have reached an agreement on a mediator for the 60 Minutes lawsuit. CBS has reported that President Trump's debt related to fraud in New York exceeds $500 million. Furthermore, it is reported that several top officials from the Internal Revenue Service, IRS, are expected to resign following a controversial agreement to provide data on migrants to Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE. The White House has stated that Trump is confident the United States possesses the ability to produce iPhones, as the ongoing tariff conflict with China continues. Trump has indicated that the U.S. will soon reveal tariffs on pharmaceutical imports. The U.S. Congress, specifically the House, is expected to provide Trump with the necessary space to implement these tariffs, according to Johnson. Furthermore, Trump has issued a threat to veto any legislation aimed at limiting his authority over tariffs. In another development, Trump has mandated a fresh review of the merger between Nippon Steel and U.S. Steel. Dr. Oz advocates for AI in healthcare at first Medicare agency meeting. 5 days ago, Dr. Oz officially took on the role of leading the agency responsible for managing Medicare and Medicaid. The White House has directed agencies to create strategies and appoint leaders to enhance the use of AI. A congressional report highlights that China's advancements in biotechnology pose a threat to U.S. dominance, and a Stanford report indicates that the U.S.'s lead in AI over China is quickly diminishing. Ivorian fintech company Jammo has successfully secured $17 million in funding to further develop its platform, marking a significant milestone as it reaches 1 million active customers. A unit of Johnson & Johnson has been mandated to pay $1.64 billion due to the illegal promotion of HIV drugs. In a strategic move, Infineon has announced its acquisition of Marvell's automotive Ethernet business. In India, there is growing concern over digital safety as cyber scams specifically targeting the elderly continue to rise. A recent report indicates that in 2024, clean energy sources were responsible for generating 40% of the world's electricity. In the United States, former President Trump has issued executive orders intended to revitalize the coal industry, which has been facing significant challenges. The National Weather Service in the U.S. has decided to cease translating its weather products into languages other than English. In Malaysia, the central bank, known as Bank Negara, has indicated that there is no immediate plan to reduce interest rates, even though the United States has imposed tariffs and the Malaysian ringgit is experiencing fluctuations. A survey conducted by Pew Research Center reveals that a significant portion of Americans are against the tariffs placed on Chinese products. Commentators suggest that Chinese suppliers of semiconductors and auto parts anticipate benefiting from the escalating U.S. trade war, and China might retaliate by leveraging its service trade to counter the U.S. tariffs. The Washington Post discusses the rise of MAGA Maoism within the populist right, as Besant suggests that federal layoffs could assist in filling factory positions generated by Trump's tariffs. China has criticized J.D. Vance for referring to its citizens as peasants. Meanwhile, a right-wing group supported by Koch and Leo is taking legal action to halt Trump's tariffs. Bloomberg states that El Salvador is now considered safer to visit than France by the United States. AP notes that while the U.S. anticipated a significant year for travel, overseas visitors, upset with Trump, are choosing other destinations. Trump intends to impose a $998 daily fine on migrants who do not depart following a deportation order, and the Supreme Court has permitted Trump to deport Venezuelans under wartime law, though only after a review by judges. Furthermore, it is reported that the Trump administration plans to allocate $45 billion to expand immigrant detention facilities, and the U.S. has sent 238 migrants to a large prison in El Salvador, with documents suggesting that most of them do not have any clear criminal records. Caltech has decided to change the name of its leading diversity official, but the office dedicated to diversity, equity, and inclusion will remain unchanged. The Trump administration has reportedly halted $1 billion in funding intended for Cornell University and $790 million meant for Northwestern University. The administration has reduced funding to Princeton University due to its climate-related programs. The Trump administration recently announced an accidental reduction in funding for certain crucial United Nations food programs, which occurred just 1 day prior. This decision has resulted in the cessation of essential food aid for millions of people, with the World Food Programme describing it as a death sentence. Meanwhile, Democrats have initiated a new war room strategy to challenge both Trump and the Republican Party. The Washington Post has commented on how tariffs are causing divisions within the GOP, while the Wall Street Journal has noted that Wall Street is beginning to voice opposition to Trump's tariff policies. Trump pledges a $1 trillion defense budget for the upcoming year. The Trump administration dismisses a senior Navy female officer stationed at NATO, who was included on a list labeled as woke by a conservative group. Trump announces a 4-mile military parade to celebrate his 79th birthday, which has been criticized as a $92 million event in his own honor. The Trump administration is considering the use of drone strikes against Mexican drug cartels. An EU envoy has stated that there have been no discussions with the United States regarding the possibility of reducing sanctions on Russia. The United Kingdom is developing a tool designed to predict who is most likely to commit murder. The former head of the FDA's vaccine division has expressed concern that the United States' status of having eliminated measles is at risk due to an increase in cases. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has announced his intention to instruct the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, to cease recommending fluoride in public drinking water. In a move that has caused significant backlash among his followers, Health Secretary RFK Jr. has publicly supported the MMR vaccine. Kennedy has also made the assertion that anti-vaccination doctors have successfully treated approximately 300 children affected by measles. RFK Jr. has traveled to Texas following the tragic death of a second child due to measles during the ongoing outbreak. Furthermore, it has been reported that Kennedy's proposal to dispatch health officials to native